The Henderson City Council position is vital to our community development, so we want to get to know our candidates.
Hello everyone, my name is Trish Nash, and I feel like I know most of you in here. Thank you for coming. I have lived in Nevada and Henderson since 2000 and know Tuscany very well, live very close by, and have been selling Tuscany through the ups and downs of this community. And yes, you're absolutely right. It went through some treacherous times, but I have to thank Mr. Tom Burke here because he's a visionary. He saved this golf course. The golf course has been a great feature in this East Henderson area in Ward 3, and everyone knows it's not easy to run a successful golf course. I mean, we saw what happened with Black Mountain.
Hi, my name is Steve Rice. Thank you all for coming. So I've been a practicing business and real estate attorney here in town for the last 30 years. I've lived in Henderson for the last 25 years, raised my two daughters here. They went to Green Valley High School. Henderson has been a wonderful place to live, to do business, and to raise my daughters and to have my family. So I never thought about doing anything like this, but when I was asked to do it, the city has been so good to me and to my family. It's an opportunity, I think, for me to give something back. And I think because of what I've done in my career over the last 30 years, I have something of value to bring to the City Council. So I hope that you'll consider me for this office. As far as roundabouts are concerned, I know that you kind of either love them or hate them. All in all, I think roundabouts are a good thing. I think you're going to see more of them because the city supports them. If there are specific concerns, I understand that you haven't had the type of response that you might have wanted from the City Council in the past. But I can tell you that if I'm elected to City Council and you have an event out here, or you have concerns, you have something that you want to talk about, something that you feel is not being addressed by city staff, call me. I'll be here. I'll be happy to meet with you. If I do get elected, there's nothing more important to me than serving the people that I represent. And so my time will be devoted to doing a good job on the City Council.
So I'm a mother of 7 and a grandmother of 11, and I'm a kindergarten teacher, and I'm also a businesswoman. So that's just a little background on me. What's important to me is our safety of our children, because I watch it all the time being in an elementary school, and I've watched several things happen over the years, and it's a little scary with traffic as it's increasing for our families and for children, as well as adults. Trish is right on the 90% of decrease in accidents with roundabouts and 76% less injuries.
I grew up in the Boston area. I've been out here about 20 years, and I love roundabouts. When I came out here, I said, where the heck are all the roundabouts? Everything the candidates have said, I absolutely agree with. But traffic calming and traffic mitigation and engineering studies, it's not a templatized approach. Everything has to be customized and tailored to the situation and the residency that you're at.
So for the last 5 years, I've served as the vice chair for the education committee for the city of Henderson. So I spent a few years working with the city on the Pittman neighborhood revitalization project. So Pittman neighborhood is not far from here. Pittman is just behind the Joker's Wild. And the city asked me to come and work with them on that project because that area has the second highest rate of chronic disease in all of Henderson. What can we do to help improve health? Thank you. And so things that we can do to improve health is think about affordable housing and high density housing, but we also need to make sure that people who are already renters have an opportunity for home ownership, and thinking about condos and townhomes and ways for people to invest in our community. Affordable housing can not only be about rent, but high density housing is going to be part of that, and high density housing allows us to have more water conservation types of sustainable development and building.
Development resources, water. I met with John Ensminger, Southern Nevada Water Authority, boss, general manager, via Zoom on a HOA collective meeting. And I've got good news on the waterfront. I've got bad news on the natural grass front. Conservation is going to increase more. As far as natural turf and functional versus non-functional, those areas like golf courses or playgrounds and parks, those are considered functional areas. Those aren't going to be touched, at least now. Everything else that's decorative or aesthetic, it's going to go. It has to go. So if we want to live here and have a thriving community, we have to embrace the fact that unless it's playgrounds, cemeteries, golf courses.
And we have to look at that and figure it out. It's not just a Nevada problem, but I'm worried about Henderson. So I'm focusing on what we can do for Henderson, and that is bringing people together that we can get a solid plan as how we're going to move forward. They talk about aquifers, they talk about, but are we tapping into those? Are we ready to do that yet? I mean, I need the data. I'm not a water expert. I am going to be meeting with John from Southern Nevada Water Authority, and I want to just make sure that we do the very best so that our growth, because it does seem to be crazy growth sometimes, where we just keep building and building and building, and we're building, and this was a high density question, so building apartments at the rate we've been building apartments is not okay with me.
We all have to make some difficult decisions, and the city has to make some difficult decisions, as well as the entire Clark County. And has to do with water, has to do with development. A question was asked about, the apartments that are being built, and it's a concern I have. There's, as a real estate broker, I mean, obviously, people need homes. But talking about roundabouts, yes, you're right, Steve, the city does love roundabouts. But the reason they love roundabouts is because they did very extensive studies. And through the NDOT, the Nevada Department of Transportation, there are studies that show that roundabouts are actually much safer, which both Jody and Steve talked about. But some numbers, there's a reduction overall of 90% reduction of fatalities and 75% reduction of accidents. You're right, we're going to see more roundabouts, and it's just similar to the whole artificial turf. We're going to see a lot more desert landscaping, and we may not like it, but it's just part of moving forward in our community.
And we had, our agreement with the city says that if the lake ever gets down to 1,050 feet of elevation, that we give notice to the city, because that's pretty close to when our pumps are going to start running dry. And we never thought that we were going to get there, or if we got there, it was going to be a decade or more. Well, we've given that notice. We hit 1050. Good news is we have done, and the SNWA has done an amazing job in leading the nation really on conserving water, on reclaiming water, on recycling water. So more than 90% of the water that goes into a building is reclaimed and recycled. It's not consumed, it's not lost. And it's going to be, there's no way to avoid the required removal of non-functional turf, and that's just something that we have to do. But the good news is that we use less water today than we did 20 years ago. Notwithstanding the incredible growth over the last 20 years, we actually use less water because of the work that the SNWA has been doing.
And what people don't realize is the amount of evaporation that comes out of a lake like that. It's incredible. We do water drawdown studies all the time to figure out whether we've got leaks or problems out there. We have 100% of the water that comes into this golf course is all recycled. Water district friendly. We're in it together. Let's do the best of it and keep rolling it forward.